In 2017, I was working with about 15 adoptive and foster families, and we were working on referrals for their kids, and I noticed a pattern. They all needed occupational therapy. So I felt the Lord impress it upon my heart that He was creating a new chapter for Legacy 68.5, and that chapter was going to include holistic care for families on a piece of property that Houston's First owned. We are sitting in Faith Center Spring Branch in the new wing on the north side of the building that we have named The Oaks. We are going to bring everything under one roof and into one house. Occupational therapy, Christ-centered licensed professional counselors. We hope for a nutritionist, a speech pathologist. We have an attorney who works for us. And what that will mean for children and families is that they are not getting services on one side of town and another service on another side of town. And those professionals typically don't talk to one another. So it's very isolated treatment, which does not work toward long-term healing. So what we're going to be able to do is put together a multidisciplinary team. All of them will work together for the healing of that family. We often think, wow, this child has been adopted, and we celebrate Adoption Day as kind of the end of the story. Now they're in family, all is well. But the reality is there is no placement without incredible relational loss.
My name is Catherine Klein. I am currently a senior at A&M and was adopted when I was 22 months from St. Petersburg, Russia.
My name is Esteban Stier, and I was adopted from Guatemala when I was a kid.
My name is Ivan Adams, and I was adopted from Medellin, Colombia. Came here when I was 9 years old.
When I came home, I was like deathly afraid of my father, and I have no idea the underlying trauma that caused that terrifying feeling.
It really is hard adopting any child. We all have our own traumas that we experience. You know, I was a little older, I was 9, so I experienced so many different things.
Unless we very intentionally lean in as the redeemed, not as rescuers, that child and then subsequently that family begins to carry those wounds daily through everyday life things.
A lot of kids from hard places or that have, felt a lot of themselves being taken away. They don't know what it means to feel pursued, and they don't know what it means to feel loved.
I put a lot of hope in to have a family and have parents. I had that, my parents were great, but that wasn't fully enough for me, like really to reach the depths of my hurt and trauma.
The therapy just went a long way for me. And so a space dedicated to therapy, I just think is going to be so impactful.
I've never heard of a therapy gym. I've never heard of these different forms of counseling and stuff like that. I would have been very curious to see how this would have helped in a lot of situations in my personal stuff.
The church gets to partner with people who might be believers, people who are not believers. And so this is just another level of ministry that they get to do.
God has promised through Jesus, the Messiah who came to us, who came for us in the midst of our pain, that He would bind up the brokenhearted. My hope for the Oaks is that families would not just experience healing in the now, but that it would impact generations to come. Faith has become sight as we sit here, and we can do that because of the incredible generosity of the body of Christ saying yes to the new thing that God is doing for Legacy 68.5 and foster, adoptive, and kinship families all around the Houston area. Thank you for your generosity.